Hey guys, welcome to Cricket Fanatics Magazine. This is your review show. I'm your host Khalid Mohidin, and this is the show where we talk about the South Africa versus England series. And yeah, what can I say? South Africa obviously lost the series now, but one more game in hand, obviously. Quite convincingly in both matches. 5 wickets in the first and 4 wickets in the second. England winning the toss both times and taking the ball both times. And it actually put South Africa's batting in the spotlight in a way. I felt that our approaches were not as expected. I feel there is some debates that we're going to have tonight about the way we batted, etc. We'll get some proper insights, obviously, from our special guests, but I'm going to first get our panelists on the show to have a quick conversation with us. And before we get going, of course, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, click that notification bell if you haven't done so already. Let's bring on the guest. First and foremost, the victorious Aaron.
Hello, Khalid. Thank you very much for having me on.
Well done on the name. Great.
I know. I
pronunciation.
remembered. Don't worry, mate.
Yeah, I have this conversation with a lot of people because obviously it's different everywhere and around the world. People pronounce my name differently, but well done. That's excellent. We've got the Arsenal supporter Paul on the show.
Good choice. Good choice.
How are you just doing?
Good. I'm all right, man. That's a bittersweet day for me because obviously United coming back fantastically to win their match, and then I thought the Proteas were doing the same thing, but then in the end didn't happen. Then we got Lubabalo waiting for us. I hope everything's good your side, bro.
Hi guys, how are you?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to hear.
Finally. Yeah, no, I managed to fix things, so I'm sorted now, guys.
Yeah, cool, awesome, man. So let's just give a quick update if how everybody's feeling before we bring on our special guest, Aaron. And then I'm gonna give you guys all an opportunity to ask him questions. But let's start with you, Aaron. You guys were obviously victorious, so the winners go first.
Well, yeah, I suppose we were. I think it was, I don't know, for me, I still think it was mixed. I still don't think England performed their best today. I'm going to be honest, in particular against the spin to brace Shamsi. I know he bowled extremely well, 3 for 19. But in particular, 2 of the dismissals, Butler's one just came charging under the track, didn't really try to read the spin. And then Ben Stokes' one as well, just trying to go for the slog sweep. So I still think there's lessons to be learned, but obviously I'm happy with the win. But with that being said, again, I still think there's still areas we need to improve upon heading into that Indian World Cup. But we've still got time. There's a lot of promise. Dan Malan was absolutely class today. So, yeah, pretty positive from an English perspective, I must admit.
I think the difference in the approach, and you guys will say that now as well, but I think the difference in the approach is just the way they batted and the shot selection that they picked. I mean, we saw a lot of straight drives from David Malan playing safe shots rather than trying to swing aggressively. And I think that having those, I think that's I felt personally that South Africa was trying to force this. They're trying to force this aggressive style of cricket. The smart aspect is very important, and I think that some of the English batsmen batted very smartly. They picked their shots very well. David Malan and Owen Morgan specifically. They picked their shots very well. They played the ball around the gun. And gentle touches, deft touches were important on this particular pitch, waiting a little longer than trying to attack it out. We saw every single time a batsman tried to do so, Ben Stokes, obviously Faf du Plessis, some of the other batsmen as well. If they tried to rush their shots, wickets fell. So, Lubabalo, let's start with you. How's your feelings about this? Obviously, we lost the series now, but with one game to spare, what is your feelings on this particular match that took place today?
How much time do I have? I'm joking. If you remember what I said when we had the show, after I think Victor was announced, I said I was looking forward to seeing selection because it was going to tell us where we're going. I think I almost know where we're going now. And I'm afraid to say this. It looks like we're going nowhere slowly. Because we want to try and play a different brand of cricket, but we are not picking players for that brand of cricket. I'm not sure if I make sense. But if you want to play a certain brand of cricket, you need to pick players who play that brand of cricket. It's no point going to picking players just because, well, he's been scoring runs for the past 3-4 years, but he doesn't play the brand of cricket that you play. It's almost like in football. You don't sign players for the sake of signing them, but you sign them because they are what you need. Let's say, for instance, you need a left-footed player, a left-footed defensive player. You won't go and buy a right-footed defensive player. So for me, I feel we the players are good. I'm not gonna lie. They're talented, but they're not the players we need for the type of brand of cricket that we want to play now. You look at our top seven, for example, top six, in fact, for example. You have Temba, you have Faf in your top three, let's say. Never mind today's game. You have Temba and Faf in your top three. You're sorted with that kind of players, with those kind of players. You're short of players who are sort of dynamic in your middle order there. So now, if you're still going to have players who are similar to Temba and Faf, you still have them at 4 and 5, then we're going nowhere slowly. I could actually speak the whole day, but I'm not happy with how we're playing. I'm not happy with the brand of cricket that we're playing. It's not aggressive. It's not smart. It's typical South African conservative cricket with a bit of recklessness. And for me, that's definitely.
Yeah, Paul, take it away.
It was frustrating because we all knew that Paul was going to be slow, that Paul was going to turn out like this. And the problem I have is the brains trust. Well, one of the brains trust in Mark lost an MSL T20 final batting the exact same style that the Proteas batted today. And they got restricted very, very handily by a team that had a Tabrez Shamsi and a Bjorn Fortuin on the other end. And for me, that was the disappointing part, was that at Paul, you need wickets in hand. You need wickets on the back end, especially after the power play, to give yourself that ability to be assertive, not necessarily aggressive, but you need to be assertive in the way in which you look for runs. And we didn't have those style of players as Lubabalo was talking about, but we didn't have those opportunities to be assertive because our batting lineup was very well. We had only 6 batsmen there, and that was largely it. And that kind of hamstrung Klaasen towards the back end and Rassi in terms of trying to look for runs. Yes, it was hard to score, but you needed to pick your balls carefully, and that's what England did towards the back end. They waited for the quicker balls. They knew that the South African bowlers were going to bowl their cutters, and they allowed them to bowl their cutters, but then they capitalized on the quicker balls that came through. And that's what you needed, Paul. Paul's always the ground where if it comes quickly, try score. If not, you always need to score in the power play. They did well in the power play, but after the power play, it kind of fizzled out with guys necessarily trying to force things rather than looking for the 2s and the 3s, because that's what Paul is about. It's 2s and 3s, and then necessarily building it up. But they got hamstrung by the fact that the batting lineup and the skills in the batting weren't. The batting lineup was short. Well, the top 6 was shorter than normal, as well as necessarily the shot selection. From a bowling perspective, I thought our spinners bowled pretty well. I don't know if you could have bowled a Heino Klaasen there after that George Linder finished his spell, but I'm not gonna because needing 10 and over at Paul with your quicks, the quicks that you have, the quality of quicks that you have, that should be enough. Just David Malan was just on point. He timed the ball well. He waited for it well. He didn't try and rush everything. And essentially having Owen Morgan come in there and pick and identify the balls with which the Proteas were going to bowl quicker to him really, really did help, because it's a game of poker. You are holding your cards, you're bluffing, you're trying to see what the other guys are going to bring. And England towards the back end with Morgan and David Malan picked the South Africans quicker balls very well, and they punished them. And to a certain extent, that kind of put the pressure back onto the bowlers, and that's why we lost. I'm just frustrated that we lost this game because there's a blueprint to playing in Paul, and we just didn't go about it in our batting innings.
Well, guys, this is my favorite part of the show. It's time for our Six Gun Grill special guest speaker that we're going to have on the show today. And I thought that we really need to be educated about what's really going on here. So I thought that the best person to actually bring on the show is none other than Mr. Omar Henry. Well, welcome to the show, Mr. Omar Henry. Welcome back. I always love your insights. We actually had a conversation before the series about the balance of South Africa and the balance of the team. Can you just sum up everything for me? What did you expect from South Africa in this series, and did you see some patches of it or none at all?
Well, I think some of you guys have already spoken about it and the brand of cricket. And I think they want to play the right brand of cricket, and that's to be positive and smart, or aggressive and smart. But if some of the guys haven't done it before, then they're in the process of changing mindsets and adapting approaches and whatever the case is. And you can see that in both games that they caught in between. And it's not easy to go from the one approach to another approach immediately. It takes time, and one possibly have to give them time. On the other hand, the longer they're going to lose games, the more confidence they're going to have, the less confidence they're going to have. And it's a very tricky situation to be in. But you know, at the end of the day, you make a commitment, and then you've got to find those players that is willing to go there. But if you take today's game, I think Malan, when he came in, he saw what needed to be done, and he was like the anchor man. And if you looked at it, after facing 20 odd balls, he only had 20 odd runs. It was basically not even at 100 a strike rate. But he kept the innings together. He formulated partnerships, and the other guys were mostly the aggressors. And then he took it right through. So like Moreki said, it's a case of knowing how Paul plays and then have a strategy on how to apply yourself. I personally think that we were possibly 10, 15 runs short on that pitch. Mm-hmm. We had an opportunity to get those kind of runs. And if you look at it, how far we took it when we defended it, you know, that 10, 15 runs would have made a big difference to how England would have approached it. Unfortunately, you know, those are very expensive lessons to learn, and sometimes it hurts. It is how strong we can come out of the series or the next game and possibly get a win under our belt.
Yeah, I think that's the one positive South Africa can take out of it, even though they knew they was defending something, you know, like not a massive total. They bowled really well despite that, and they tried to obviously, I would say, throttle England as much as possible. Obviously, with England's batting lineup, they came out of it. There was an interesting point made, actually. England know how to win. No matter what the conditions is, no matter what the situation is, they know how to win. And that comes with experience of winning at the highest level consistently. Aaron, I'm going to give all of you guys an opportunity to ask Omar Henry some questions now. So we're going to start with Aaron, then Mpo, and then lastly, Lububalo.
Well, thank you, Khalid. So, Omar, for me, I have had this burning question all day, to be honest, and it is about Boland Hendricks. Now, I know he didn't actually play today. So, first of all, I wanted to kind of get your understanding of, A, did you agree with that, given that in the last game, he got absolutely pumped, that 28 run over. He's got a lot of stick on social media for that over the weekend. And number two, the second part, we keep on mentioning this smart, aggressive brand of cricket. Do you see Boland fitting into that scheme, or do you think these international days are over for the time being?
When they picked the team for Newlands, I couldn't understand why Nortje wasn't playing. Because for me, Nortje, Rabada, and Ngedi were the three guys to take the new ball and bowl. A, because they played IPL, and they are our best new ball bowlers and possibly they wicket takers. I can only assume that the reason why they played Buren was because of his left arm, and he brings a little bit of a variation. Having said that, I don't know. I couldn't understand when he bowled that over of 28, what was his plan, because before that he bowled very good slower balls, he bowled very good cutters, and it paid off. And I couldn't understand why did he change that. So it still baffles me, but for me, it comes back to the original three that should have played at Newlands. And they showed today why they should have played at Newlands, you know. So for me, Buren, you know, he has improved enormously since he went to Gauteng, and he played some good cricket. But I think there's a gap between him and those three, and he just needs to narrow that gap and close it, and hopefully force himself back into that team. So whether he fits that brand, he needs to narrow that gap before he can really say, look, he's going to knock that door off.
Omar, thank you for joining us. It's such a privilege to be on the show with you. What changes would you make going to Newlands, knowing the type of brand of cricket they're trying to play? Would you give other guys a chance? Yes, it's a different wicket. Probably it's going to be slightly a high-scoring game. Or do you give the same 11 a chance to rectify this on a much better, on a wicket that they can time the ball better on? Or do you give guys like Cal Varane an opportunity to see if he can do anything else in that 24? Yeah, because I'm just trying to figure out what to do now that you've lost the series.
I think the debate is going to go on who are the players that select themselves after these two games, right? And there's possibly 5 or 6. And if it's 6, then who's the other 5 that needs to play? And that is where they then have to find the right guys that will fit into the brand, that commits themselves and will go out there, and when they get in, whatever the circumstances are, they will be prepared to adapt to those circumstances or situations and play it accordingly. The perfect example I can give you, Mareki, is that today 160 would have been a competitive score on that wicket. And it was there for us. Who was it? Rassie, and Klaasen. And then you looked at how Linda played. Linda was the aggressor, right? And all he needed was the other guys to manipulate the strike, ran the 2s and 3s, and they would have got there. Now, we all know that those 3 bowlers is not really batters that can go into the death and hit boundaries. So basically, you've got to really bat with Linda, the last guy to come in at the death. And that's how you've got to structure it. Until such time there's somebody else coming in after Linda to be able to hit boundaries for you. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a long debate for whoever is involved, because a few question marks will come up against the middle order batters, like you said, you know, and whether they are capable to play that brand of cricket. I don't know whether that answers your question, Mareki.
It does quite a lot, and I think we can go into over the next, maybe even tomorrow, into who the guys have selected themselves. over the past 2 games, then who then can we put in and see if we can change? Because there are 24 players in the bubble, so there are a lot of options that Mark Boucher and co have.
Cool. Rubabalo?
Oh, hi, Omar. I think my question, you sort of touched on it a bit when you were answering Umpo. But considering the brand of cricket that coach and the team says they want to play, I just want to hear your thoughts on that, on the makeup of the top six. Do you think with the top six that we have, we could possibly be able to play that brand of cricket without even calling names, just the makeup in terms of playing style of the players? Do you think that top six is the kind of top six that would give us that brand of cricket, also considering the age of certain players in the team? Because if we're saying we want to change, the brand of cricket that we play, it's something that's for tomorrow and the days that are coming. It's something for the future. We're basically trying to change how the team plays in general.
Look, you're right. The thing is that there is a big squad. That's a plus. It is to identify the player that will fit the brand. Now, you go into the player previous games that they played, whether it is domestically or whether it is for South Africa internationally, or whether it is in global T20 competitions, and you'll find the data and the information whether they are capable of playing those and committed to that kind of cricket, because that's high risk and you need to be mentally very strong. You cannot be conservative minded. You need to understand the situation that you're in. That needs to be discussed with your partner that you're batting, and how you're going to approach it. What role are you going to play? What role is he going to play? At the end of the day, you cannot just go in willy-nilly and then just play shots, and you just lose wickets like a pack of cards. You cricket, whether you play T20 cricket or 50-over cricket or test cricket, it's about partnerships. Now, what role does the one partner play in comparison with the other partner to be able to get you to a score that is compatible and that you can defend if you bat first? So there's a lot of detail that needs to be discussed at the end of the day. It's fine to sit in a chair when you discuss and everybody accept and very excited about the brand, because that is, we saw England played it, we saw West Indies played it, we saw India play it, we saw Australia play it, we saw New Zealand play it. Do we as individuals commit ourselves when it comes to the actual execution during a game? And that is where we're failing at the moment, when it comes to the execution of it, and we're not producing what we should have done. If you look at Newlands, was it a good thing to bowl Buren? You can debate that. And even in today's game, there's certain things that I think Quinton is a new captain, he's learning, and it's going to take time for him as well under very challenging circumstances, because they're building a team as well. So you've got to look on his side as well, because there's going to be mistakes made in comparison with Owen. He drives the process and he backs his players. Now, have we got that? Are we in that situation? We're not there yet, So time, we're going to need to give these guys time. And then the convener of selectors, the coach, they need to find those players. So whether you agree with me that in that regard.
Well, I think you're 100% correct, and I'm gonna leave you off with one last question from my side, and that is about South Africa and that number 6 position. Obviously, leading into the World Cup, we're going to be looking for that second spinner option that can bat. What is your thoughts on George Linder over the last 2 games? How did you think he performed?
It's ironic. On Friday, before the game, somebody asked me who was the spinner I would select. What spinner's name I would put on this team sheet first? And I said Linder, even before Samji. And the reason why I say that, the moment Samji plays, we've got 4 bowlers that cannot bat. Now in T20 cricket, that's a hole when it comes to batting. So George becomes a very key player for South Africa. The mere fact that he bowls and he bats, and he's an improved bowler. I've seen him as a young cricketer when he played for Western Province amateur team. He showed a lot of promise, and he has improved enormously, possibly the last 18 months. And his performances will tell you that. So, and the way he batted at Newlands, the way he batted today shows you that he's grown as a cricketer. So I put my money on him. Samji has shown today that, you know, he can add value. Whether South Africa will play him before Linder, if they only play one spinner, that's a very good debate to have.
Okay, thanks a lot, Omar, for coming on the show. I really enjoyed your insights. I'm sure all the guys enjoyed it too. And I'm definitely going to get you on the show again. You know, I like you to have conversations with you. So we'll have more debates and more discussions in the future if you're okay with that. So thanks a lot for coming and joining us.
Pleasure, guys, man. And keep up the good work. Well done so far. I keep listening to you guys, and all the best.
Thank you. So, guys, let's just sum up all of that. Now we can get into our debate part of the show. I know that we're going to have a show tonight. So while we have a lot of people obviously tuning in right now, we're going to have a podcast show tonight where I'm going to speak to the fans. And I've opened it up to the panelists that they can phone in as fans to have a chat with me and debate certain things. But I'm going to answer a lot of questions in the comment section, in the live chat. And you guys can also call in. So I'll put that link in the stream so that you can call in and have a chat. You can just talk about anything. If you want to talk about your girlfriend dumping you on the weekend, then you can do that too. It doesn't really matter. It's an open show. So what we're going to do right now, guys, is just dive into everything. Because, I mean, it's been quite a hectic 2 days, 3 days, I would say. For me, it has been a lot longer because of the build-up. It's who are we going to go with? Who are we not going to go with? What are they going to do? How they're going to look? I mean, the way things have changed since I spoke to Victor Impetsang, to the point that we are at right now, I've felt a little bit let down by certain things because I thought really that we're going to give a lot of opportunities to the younger guys, and I really thought that was going to be an opportunity. I was very disappointed with the fact that they only brought Marco Maré in as cover. I thought Marco Maré would be part of the 24-man squad. Somehow they would fit him in somewhere as that number 6 batsman and can smack the ball. I'm really disappointed with the fact that we haven't seen Vian Libbe in a squad yet, a spinner that can bat too, or batter that can spin, actually. So there's a lot of things that we can discuss and go into depth after the series. But, I mean, let's just let Lubabalo, if you want to go first, with just adding on to what Omar said.
Yeah, I quickly want to add on what Omar said. If you saw my team, I had Andile at 8 because it's something that I thought about. I think Dan mentioned it also yesterday to me that most T20 teams don't bat till 7. Most T20 teams bat till, well, England is an exception. They bat till their 12th man, which is okay. And it got to a point where I was thinking, the World Cup is in India. Okay, we're going to have a frontline spinner. We're also going to need a batsman that can bowl spin. Okay, we already have George Linder for now. Let's say we have two spinners. We also need a seamer who can bat. If we want to play three seamers, we need a seamer who can bat. So it boils down to us having to choose between Lungi, KJ, and Anna at some point, which is why I made the team that I made. Because I also feel like Andile, if we have Andile at 8, we have that batting it's a decent enough batting lineup. But if you have Andile at 7, and I feel Andile in terms of batting, he's not there yet. He's not where we really want him to be yet at the moment. But he shows glimpses every now and then. So having him at 8 would probably do the team justice. So I honestly agree with what Omar said. But for me, it's not choosing between Linda and Shamsi, because I'm for the opinion that Shamsi is the more attacking of the two. And if you want to have a spinner, you'd rather have. Exactly. He bowled really well today. So if Shamsi can keep that up, Linda can stay at 7. And then we have Andile coming in at 8. And then we definitely have to choose between. I know it's going to be a tough one. I know it'll make people fight, but we will have to choose between Anna, KG, and Lungi at some point in T20 cricket, because I feel the balance would be better in terms of having bowlers, and then in terms of having a longer batting lineup. By the way, I don't like the idea of picking bowlers and considering their batting, but T20 cricket makes us do things.
Makes us do crazy things. Yes, you are 100% correct about that. She was like, T20 is a crazy game. As there's so many little things that you have to worry about before you actually pick things and do things, and the way you approach things. I'm having problems with my mouse is disconnecting, but let me go through some of the comments, and then you guys can answer it when you can just put up your finger when you want me to stop.
While you're looking through the comments, you can put them through. Speaking on to Alubabala's point, less than 29 is not good enough. Look, I looked at that. It was actually 30. Look, for me, the way in which Temba and Quinton went out looked like they had some sort of a plan. You need to put pressure on the English bowlers up front, try to look for the boundaries, especially with the power play. So I was okay with the top order, especially Reza coming in. Yes, it took him a little bit of a while, but at that time, the aggressor was Quinton. I was happy with the way we played the power play. Everything after the power play is the issue. And to a certain extent, I even think I look back at that MSL final and look at the role that Dwayne Pretorius played when Faf promoted him up to number 4 during the power play to try and get as many runs as possible. And I kept on thinking that Dwayne Pretorius was missed as much as we miss Andile. Because if Dwayne Pretorius plays in the side, he bats at 6, Linda can bat at 7, Andile can bat at 8, and then you need to figure out who your two seamers are and Shamsi. That should be the 11 at the bottom 6 at your World Cup. Dwayne is a much better batsman than people give him credit for. And amongst the 3 all-rounders that we have, or 4 now with Linda, him and George Linda could fight for that number 6 spot. But I think Dwayne Pretorius, having played around the world, is great. We just obviously the injury. So today this series is a balanced series. I don't understand why they couldn't get Marco Murray into the squad as cover, because that would have helped with him at least batting at 6, and then George Linda, and then you can go with your five bowlers from 7 onwards. And then you give Quinton that extra option, because I kind of felt there was an over a spin that needed to take over in over 13 and 14 to 15. That kind of would have helped Kagiso and the guys, because regardless of how well David Malan was playing, when it came to spin, he really struggled. And they really struggled to score boundaries. And that's what PAL is. You need overs of spin. You need lots of overs of spin. And that's what you're going to need in India. I just felt that they missed a trick. And the sad part about it is Boucher's been there before. Enoch's seen this before. And you can say that England are a better batting side, and they showed that. It's just the fact of the matter is we missed a trick. And that trick was, even if it's in one of those pace bowling all-rounders who can bowl slightly slower than the others, but use cutters and everything else as their skill set to get through. The 3 paces we have always revert to the quick balls somehow in the thing. And yes, it's a factor of ODI cricket where you need to mix it up with the pace, but here you need to bowl cutters 24/7. There's no room for you to bowl quickly. Yes, Anrich bowling over 150. That's a separate case, and he bowled very well. But there were moments in the back end where Owen Morgan got a liking to him and got boundaries off of the balls he bowled quickly. So you need to give Quinton enough to win a game. He was missing a bowler. I don't know what type of bowler that was, but it was an all-rounder that could bowl cutters a lot more, just to give something else. But at the way the squad is set up, it's not good. We're going to go into Newlands with 5 seamers again, or with 5 out-and-out bowlers and 6 batsmen, which doesn't make sense.
Yeah, cool. So what I'm going to do is, Aaron, I want you, because you haven't really spoken much today, I want you to give some comments before I go into the comment section. When I go into the comment section, we're not going to rebuttal that because there's not a lot of time left. I'm just read them out one by one and just say what the fans are saying. But Aaron, if you could change anything from South Africa, I mean, you've seen that squad. I mean, what would you do for that final game? And we will talk about it more in depth actually for the review, for tomorrow, for the preview actually. Sorry, we'll do that for the preview, obviously, for the next game. But what would you change right now if you were a South African fan?
He would pick JJ.
Well, it's I knew it was coming, Lumabala. I knew it was coming. I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't mind seeing JJ. I mean, Wiaan Luba, that's a great shout. It was fantastic for the Durban Heat in the Mzansi Super League. Surprised that he isn't in the mix, actually. For me personally, I'd like to see Bjorn Fortuin. I really do like Bjorn Fortuin. He can offer a bit with the bat. And not only that, I think it'd be interesting now that the series has gone to just see between those 2 left-arm spinners. George Linder's done a fantastic job. He's been economical. He's got wickets. I think he's gone at less than 7 and over today again. So just have a bit of almost a matchup between those two, because in India it's going to be subcontinental conditions. It's going to spin. Let's find out who South Africa's best spinner is. Now, the bigger problem for me, though, is actually the batting. And today, we've mentioned it so many times with relation to the dot balls and the pacing of the innings. I actually did have the stat. I wrote it down. 41 dot balls. So 1 in 3 balls today was a dot ball. That is not good enough in T20 cricket. They need someone who can anchor the innings and rotate the strike. I know a lot of people think that's Rassie, and that is fair enough. But for me, heading into this next match, maybe put Reza in as an anchor. I know he also had a slow one. I know Mpo is shaking his head. I mean, it's fair enough to disagree with that, but I'm just thinking it's a final game. It's an experiment. If you're not going to open with Reza, why not just experiment with something new? Look what England did with Johnny Bairstow. Hendrick could perform the same thing. It's as simple as that. And that obviously may not play out, but you've got the opportunity to see that play out. So for me, I think that's it from a South Africa standpoint. In terms of England, I mean, I just want to see a brand new team, to be honest. Get Livingston in there, get Wood in there. Let's just get the boys who didn't make it into the first 2 in the 11th.
You guys just want to hurt us. You just want to hurt us with Liam Livingston.
I was hoping do something. I hope we get to see some of the newer guys and actually give them opportunity with the pressures.
My first memory of Liam Livingston is him hitting, I think it was Kagiso over his head, over into the golf course at the Wanderers in the first game of MSL 2.0. And I was like, okay, we're in trouble. So
he's a great batsman. He is a fantastic batsman.
Yeah. Anyway, let's get into some of the comments quickly. I'll just read them quickly. Got Werner Erasmus saying, yes, the pitch was slow and difficult to score on, but I really saw a lack of intent, especially from Rassie van der Dussen, which was disappointing. But he definitely shouldn't be batting at number 5. Great win for United. Yep. Rassie versus Milan batting approach made difference. Cavani. Yep. That's what I was screaming. There is too much of a sameness in our batsmen. That's what Lubabalu was pushing on, and a lot. I've seen you doing it so many times in the groups and everything that we're speaking on. Reza Hendricks. I always read Rassie. Sorry, man. I always read Reza van der Dussen, like we said in the group. So that was a joke, that the personal joke that we were saying in the groups. Muller and Peklequayo back in the side. Muller might not have been available, but we know about Andile. Rassie just couldn't kick on today. Today's pitch actually was very good for Andile. I would have liked to see Andile on this pitch. I think he would have batted quite well, actually. Also, I'm more concerned about choosing the 11 rather than winning the series. Seems they are experimenting the bench strength. Okay. I feel we were too predictable at the back end with the bowling. Yes, I think that's when you feel that the game is slipping away. Like when Kagiso took that wicket, there wasn't much of a celebration. It was just
It
like,
wasn't. It wasn't even then. It was overs 50. It was overs 15 and 16.
yeah,
Anuk's over and Lungi's over of 18, followed by Kagiso's over where he had England, I think at 4. He had 3 with the first 4 balls, and then all of a sudden he cranked it up to 140. Owen Morgan was busy cutting it past thin edges past Quinton for both of those, and that's the thinking that hurt me. Was you have them under immense pressure. Continue with what you've done. It doesn't mean that just because you bowled the same ball the ball before that they're going to all of a sudden predict that. And Owen Morgan predicted the quick one very well. And those are the small little things that our bowlers need to pick up. They have great skills. They can bowl whatever ball you want them to bowl. They can bowl. It's just the choice at the time of the game and understanding where the game was. It's a captaincy thing. Maybe I don't know what needs to happen, but that for me was what let us down.
yeah. Let's just get to the final few. There was one that said that they would like to see Yaneman play. Here we go. Why Yaneman isn't playing, getting a game is beyond him. Nokia just starts every game, really. That's what he had to say. And then we've had, go a little bit more. What about Chris Morris? Chris Morris is the guy they're saying. All 3 all-rounders with Pretoria at 6. That's another option that they're saying. Yaneman maybe at 6 in T20 cricket might be. That's what this guy's saying might be an option. Okay, so that's all we got for you today, guys. Please remember to tune into our podcast show at 8. I'm hoping that these guys will want to call in as well. I like their thoughts and all their thought processes, etc. But we're going to be live at 6. Look on social media for the post. We're going to be live at 8. And as you guys know, thanks a lot for tuning in for this review. It's a pity that we couldn't obviously win this game. It's very sad from a South African point of view. Aaron loves it though, because we were giving him some banter beforehand. Hopefully, we were hoping for it to come back in our favor, but it didn't. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, click the notification bell for all future videos. Don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics Mag and click the link on the screen and in the description. Go to cricketfanaticsmag.com for all your updates. There's an England series tab, of course. And if you guys have a business,
I hate seeing Aaron
looking to get sales online.
I hate seeing Aaron this happy.
32-12. 32-12. Remember that.
Oh Lord! If you guys have a business and you're looking to get sales online, there's a free link on how to get sales online. Even if your business is offline, the free video training is on this channel. Thanks a lot for tuning in. See you guys at 8 o'clock. We'll see you guys at 8 with another podcast show. Thanks. Cheers.